I going to do? Normally I slag off conservatives for 10 or 20 minutes. I will do that a bit. I've got basically I've got a 20-minute set that I can do with that, but it is a little bit like wading through sewage, writing it. So I'll rewrite it next time they're all out, or when we hung that. That's what we're going to do. I'm going to do some other non-political things, and then I will do some mockery at the end. So I'm just going to start off with I like a bit of wordplay and a bit of a sort of fantasy sci-fi geek. So we all know of Conan the Barbarian, that's quite famous. Possibly not the most feminist piece of filmmaking ever, or writing. So this is Barbara the Conanian. In Conania, slave boys toil in skimpy leather pouches, oiled and buffed for Barbara's pleasure. But not really, because Barbara's better than that. Slavery's been abolished. Thank you. It's obvious. This one is kind of inspired by TQA. I've got a stall out there, in a sense. Those who know Kat, who is involved in that, had a nice conversation with her about the idea of it not just being about gender identity, sexuality. It's about being in the workplace where everyone knows that maybe you don't think like everybody else, and the effects that can have. So this one's called Stigma. Depression, anxiety, PTSD, these are all neurotypical for me. I do not accept restriction because of them or being seen as lower value. I still love, care, strive, and will not take punishment and effect for something medical but not for normal, whatever that means. It's just brain chemistry and the nurture of bullying. Slaps red raw and bellowing by drip feed, you're bloody mental. So when I'm upset, I'm not being difficult or awkward, and I'm not unsocial because sometimes I need to be elsewhere, timed out, people free, sometimes suddenly. My worth isn't measured in units of productivity, and I won't apologise because it's inconvenient to someone else's definition of professional. And this is not a confessional, for I have not sinned, and therefore don't feel guilty. If I need to rant to release the pressure, give a bit of valve, then why not leave it at that? So we don't think the same way, what's the big deal? I'm not a nutter, psycho, crazy, weirdo or a freak, it's just diversity. Different dances, different drums and different beats. And you know what? If I needed a bloody shrink, I'd bloody have one. Thank you. I like writing poems about little vignettes of life, things I see, just people, bits and bobs, people going about their day and just being. That's what goes in the shiny, shiny books. The rude things go in the other zines. And this is just an observation, really. A little bit of life, and it's called 10 AM, September Tuesday. Midweek morning playing fields abandoned, sporting only mizzled dew, seagulls and dogs' lost toys, bright mushrooms sprouting under hedgerows. I hear no shriek of school kid rugby, boys and girls these days, or yell of trainers who live for this, risking angina for a try. No circled teens sat in quiet corners, puffing surreptitious mist, tapping phones, giggling for apps and reapplying Amy Winehouse eyeline spikes. The dour commuters travelling by foot have gone to their cubicles, fag breaks far away and lunchtime's yet to strike. The wet is uninviting, benches too sodden for the sots, with tins and plastic cider, and so I sit among the drifts of roll-up butts, proofed by layered zips, watching nobody go by. Kind of going on from that, I'm working on a project which hasn't come out yet, but hopefully will, about writing about Southampton and the rivers and the waters and so on and so on, sort of poetry of place, if you want to think of it like that. So I go out and about and again look for just bits and pieces, interesting places. So if some of you know the middle of Southampton and little quiet corners, this is called Cossack Green. The mournful maid is kneeling, cemented to the ground, arm raised to shield her shadow-soldered eyes from the glare of skin-deep urban regen. Around her, an unexpected meadow sprouts cornflowers, diverse poppies, rusted hollyhocks, their petals echoed in shutters painted houseboat style. A red admiral, bright of scale and spiral-tongued, has found this spot and feeds alongside pollen-constellated bumblebees, they are her only companions, for her intended lover stands back-turned, plinth and basilisked, seeming like an egotist head lost among the leaves of straggled lime and beech. Some wag has sprayed his sphincter blue. More laughs are had from aerosoling bumhole gags than the low brick walls that rectangle round the unloved scrub, bookmarked by benches facing off like goal ends, tickets bought for a game that's never played. Thank you. Do feel free to wander and find where Cossack Green is and go, oh, that's what he was going on about. Feel free. There is a statue with it. Somebody sprayed its bumhole blue. It's just accurate. I mean, it's artistic wordplay. Because why not? Kind of. This is called Postmodern Pentathlon, and I think, given its British art show, appropriate. Competitors may use any location they wish, as this, by definition, then becomes a valid venue. Il n'y a pas de stade. They may also outsource the actual process of competing to assistants. Competitors proceed through the events in any order they choose. These are as follows, but neither order nor hierarchy are implied. 1. 5,000 metres deconstruction. Don't be surprised if the track splits, heads off in unexpected directions, or simply stops. Blame Derrida. 2. Pluralism. Mixed doubles. 3. Synchronised irony, individual. 4. Beach moral relativism. Avoid camera angles that linger on your grand narratives. 5. There is no objective reality, language is oppression. Discuss. If the fiveness of events is deemed to limit discourse and thus to be an outmoded constraint hindering critical investigation, events may be added or not, as appropriate or not. Nobody is qualified to judge. There are no medals or podia, as categorisation is rejected. In any case, as totality cannot be achieved, events never reach an endpoint, and as signposts are interchangeable, rendering navigation impossible, even in principle, no one will be there. Still, we compete. Thank you. Those are the new ones that I'm kind of ish happy with. Here's a bit of Michael Gove. This is done in Shakespearean insult style, and is best listened to when you haven't recently eaten anything. This is called Gove's Labour's Lost. Be gone, thou skin suit malfunction. Return to thine tomb, O pale and empty ghost, offence to the senses with thy burblings, an evil embryo, ill-formed backstabber since the womb, finger-spasmed meat puppet, idiocy's fanfare played upon the scab scars of a pox trumpet, the clammy touch of a bleached hemorrhoid, an anemic dewlap that flips and flaps, dangles wetly from ignorance's unwashed fundament. Oh, how I would that thine sire had withdrawn from action as readily as you, leaving nought but linen stains to crust and then be laundered down the drain, to slip and slither sewer rank, floating at home among the other arseborn. Oh, Gove, thou caconym, thy name I spit and flush, for thou art bulging full of it. That one is on SoundCloud for your listening pleasure and free download if you want to go look for it. I sent it to his office, but they didn't reply. I do now know when his surgeries are, so I'm hoping his constituency isn't that far away. I think it's Surrey somewhere, and so I'm going to go and perform with a megaphone at some point. The plan. One more is what I've got. So they're so good.
I know.
This is about Boris Johnson because he's Foreign Secretary and a racist twat, which is embarrassing, frankly. So this is an embarrassment's guide to Chinese inventions and discoveries because, as you may know, he said that China hadn't contributed anything to world culture. Paper making, playing cards, paper plates and cups, and banknotes. I'm sure that Johnson likes those very much. Restaurant menus and for later use, bristled toothbrush, toilet tissue, tea and a pot to put it in. Something to drink it from made of porcelain. Pottery cookware, yes they found it. First farmed millet, ploughed and ground it. And as we might be unsurprised, rice cultivation, noodles, stir fries. Old so cast iron, therefore woks. hydraulic escapements in water-powered clocks, solar, wind and silk and sunspots, spinning fans, rudders, canal locks, camera obscura, fibre optics, revolving bookcase, multi-stage rockets, underwater salvage, stirrups, steel. And no, Jethro Tull didn't find the seed drill. Blast furnaces, gimbals, chrome, a type of football, dominoes, horse harnesses, gas cylinders, aerogel, barefoot doctors, negative numbers, lacquer and oars, decimal fractions, hoverboards, chopsticks, chain-stitched domesticated goldfish, diverse weapons, types of bridge, incense bells, and lately e-cigs, hormone treatments, printing, kites, forensic entomology, chain and belt drives, compasses, so Johnson can try to find Rhodesia, nail polish and automated puppetry theatre, zoetrope seismometers, amazing feathered dinosaurs, fishing reels, fermented drinks, civil service examinings, gunpowder fireworks, dental fillings, synthetic bovine insulin, and if that's not enough for you, a range of fucking cancer killers. Thank you very much. Yeah.